حي على الفلاح.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له من ولي مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرسله الله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطيع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصي الله ورسوله فقد غوي وضل ضلالا بعيدا. نسأل الله ربنا أن يجعلنا ممن يطيعه ويطيع رسوله ويتبع رضوانه ويجتنب سخطه فإنما نحن به وله. أما بعد أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله فقد أمرنا الله تعالى بذلك في كتابه الكريم إذ قال تعالى بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون ثم أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. The month of Ramadan. There are just days left, and as we count them down, you want to switch it off? I thought, since I might not see you during the Ramadan, I'll give you some advice. Or more, maybe a few words of inspiration, motivation, so that you, inshallah, and all of us as Muslims can go through it as the believers, pure at the end, so that it might not be taken away from us by traditions and by cultures, but that we know to utilize it as one of the greatest means that Allah Azza wa Jal has left for our disposal to get nearer, to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inspiring people, well, whoever seeks inspiration in anything else except what the first generation have sought its inspiration has chosen a wrong religion. The Prophet ﷺ was for sure the most inspirational figure that ever lived on this earth. And once, in the difficult times of the companions, he advised them with a hadith for the time to come. Some of the heaviest battles and burdens went over their backs, but there was still so much to come that he was sure that they will not live through. So, seeing himself in this position, he advised them with a hadith that most of you have heard. At least a hadith is authentic in Abu Dawood and many others narrated on authority of Saud ibn Saud, RadhiyAllahu anhu, where he says, إِنَّ الْإِسْلَامَ بَدَأَ الْغَرِيبُ وَسَيَعُودُ الْغَرِيبُ. It's the first part of these few sentences that are in this hadith, where he says, alayhi salatu wasallam, surely Islam was initiated. It started as something strange. وَسَيَعُودُ الْغَرِيبُ. And the time will come, it will again be strange. Now keep in mind, most of the battles of the Prophet ﷺ were fought off. The companions were sitting around him, and he was informing them that which we went through is expecting many others that will come after us. One will think of the Prophet ﷺ as a stranger. How was it that he was a stranger? Was he someone who just came to the Arab tribe of Quraysh and said, okay people, here I am, the messenger of Allah, follow me and I'll save you from the hellfire? For sure not. This is not how he meant and how he said it, being the stranger, because this for fact is how many times this hadith is interpreted by so many, completely wrong. As we all know, the Prophet ﷺ lived for over 40 years with his people. He was winning heart and minds of the people, building trust with them, to the point where they almost blindly trusted him. They called him Al-Amin, the trustworthy one. Remember the incident where he went to that hilltop of Safa and called people. He asked them, if I was to tell you that behind this mountain there is an army that is about to attack you, annihilate you, would you believe me? They said, yes, never a lie has left your lips. You have never said anything but the truth. So my people, say La ilaha illallah, and Allah will make you rule, be the kings over all the Arabs and non-Arabs. There is it how he was a stranger. He was one amongst all of the Quraysh that were there. He was worshipping one ilah, and they were worshipping more than 360 idols that they had placed around the Kaaba. How can one be more stranger than that? His own family disavowed him. Abu Lahab, his uncle, heavy-duty businessman. People think today of business, this is peanuts what this man possessed compared to the society where he lived at. Not that he disliked him or disloved him or discouraged him or anything. It was the fact that he had to come over there. He called him, he had to leave his business. His loss was imminent, so he says, Ya Muhammad, alihada jama'atana. This is why you call us for, Ya Muhammad. Tabba laka ya Muhammad. Alihada jama'atana. Is this what you call us for? In that very moment, Allah revealed, Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tabba. May you perish, O Abu Lahab, a stranger. To bring it to our times. You see, my dear brothers and my honorable sisters, the place where we live is not populated with Muslims in majority. For fact, we are the minority. This is one way of being a stranger. The month of Ramadan will come, the most of the people around you won't be Muslims. The most of the people around you won't be praying. The most of the people around you won't be fasting. So the most of the people around you won't be even Muslims. So you will feel as a stranger. There is such a great reward in this feeling. Utilize it. I will explain to you what it brings you. Inshallah, you all know, but again, a reminder benefits the believer. Utilize it. Do not allow cultures, customs, tradition to take this feeling away from you. One way of being stranger. And then another way of being stranger, there are Muslims amongst the Muslims who feel like strangers. Alhamdulillah, great progress has been made in the da'wah. But still so many brothers and so many sisters that stick to Quran and Sunnah with their molar teeth. They are even the minority amongst the Muslims, so that they are even being looked down from other Muslims, but not by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So another feeling of being stranger. There you go back and look for the best of all the strangers where you'll find out. Me and you know that on this earth lived and dwelt people that when we talk today about them, we call it ibadah, and it is ibadah. We get hasanat for it. When we think of them, it is ibadah, hasanat we get for it. We shed tears over their stories. It is ibadah and we get hasanat for it. Because Allah has, you want to be successful, how do you go around the most successful generation that ever lived on this earth? Allah names them as السابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوه بالإحسان. The first and foremost, the vanguard of the Muslims from the Muhajirin and from the Ansar and all of them that followed in their footsteps with sincerity. RadhiyAllahu anhum wa radu an. These are the ones that Allah is pleased with them. You want to achieve success? Yes. So, Allah is pleased with these people, and these people will be pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَعَدَ لَكُمْ جَنَّاتٌ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا ذَلِكَ فَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. Allah has pledged and promised for them the gardens beneath which will rivers flow. Forever they will dwell in it. And if not this, what is success? This for sure is the ultimate success. I'll give you just very few, maybe 2 or 3 examples. There once was a kingdom on this earth that was called Roman Empire. A king of it wanted to know what kind of people are these that are coming from the desert and are knocking on our gates, tearing them down one by one. All our walls and gates are being torn down. Our lands are being taken away. Their rule is being implemented. It was for the time of Umar RadhiyAllahu anhu. A Persian empire, 4,000 years of their rule had vanished. Their back was broken by these people that came from the desert, by these strangers. So he wanted to know what is it that a companion, such a Muslim, a Sahabi, looks like. Amongst the prisoners of war that they had, there was a companion. His name was Abdullah ibn Amr RadhiyAllahu anhu. Already a man in his deep age. Old man, fighting for the sake of Allah, being captured with other Muslim prisoners. But this king wanted to see, what are these people like? We have a civilization here for so long. We rule these lands for so long. We have so much power, so much technology, so much everything, and they are winning over us. How do these people look like? When an old man was brought to him, he saw a frail person, bowed on his back, bald on his head. So he looked at him and said, "Would you want me to make you partner in my kingdom? To give you half of the wealth? To marry you off with my daughters? You just give up Islam." This is the difference between the one that has truly sensed and tasted Islam. You know, for so many people today, it is easy to sell off Islam. It is easy to say what Islam is not. Islam is not this. No, Islam is not. Everyone is an expert in Islam when it comes to excusing and apologizing himself. These people knew that the only reason to be apologetic or being to be apologetic to is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger alayhi salatu wasallam. So he said, if you were to give me whatever you rule over and all other kings rule over, to leave the deen of Islam for tarfata ayn, for the wink of an eye, I would not leave the deen of my beloved. The king wanted to test him, so he brought a prisoner and threw him in a sizzling pot of oil, huge pot, where he threw this Muslim. And Abdullah was seeing this Muslim being boiled in oil as bones were poking, piercing out of the skin of this man. At the end, he was again asked, "Will you now leave Islam?" He said, "No." "So I will kill you," said the king. "Kill me, that's all you can do." And as he was being led to be thrown in that same pot of oil, they noticed that he was crying. So king said, "Bring him back. What is it? Are you afraid?" He said, "No, wallahi." "Will you leave Islam?" "Islam, no, wallahi." "So why are you crying?" "You are crying." He said, "It is only for the reason, wallahi, that I thought to myself, you will satamutu al-an ya Abdullah. Now you will die, O Abdullah. And I wished for myself I had as many souls
in my body as I had hairs on my skin, that I can give one after another for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When one tastes the sweetness of Islam, the king, demoralized, humiliated, had no choice. The only way out he saw is letting this man free. So he told him, if I will leave you free if you do one tiny little thing, kiss me on my forehead at least, so that people don't mock and don't laugh over me. Again, even there, Abdullah did not agree without king pledging to release all the Muslim prisoners. Then he kissed this king in his forehead. When he came to Medina, the famous statement was made by the famous personality of this dunya, Al-Faruq, by Umar ibn Khattab, where he said, وَاجِبُ عَلَى كُلِّ الْمُؤْمِنِ. It is mandatory upon every believer يُقَبَّلَ رَسَّ Abdullah ibn al-Khudhafa وَأَنَّ أَبْدَوْ فِي ذَلِكَ. It is mandatory, it is duty of every Muslim, every mu'min in this ummah to kiss the forehead of Abdullah ibn Khudhafa, and I will be the first to do it. That is a stranger. This same man sat with Bilal ibn Rabah, dark-skinned Abyssinian slave, whose footsteps the Prophet ﷺ heard in Jannah, and asked him, Ya Bilal, what was it that when you were tortured? He for fact said to him, Ya Bilal, it is you who deserves to be here. It is you who deserves to be Khalifa. What was it that motivated you? What that gave you inspiration that you were saying Ahadun, Ahad, Ahadun, Ahad, Ahadun, Ahad when they were torturing you? This is the only thing you were saying. He said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I did not know anything else about Tawheed except of this, and it was enraging them, and I felt nothing but sweetness inside. Brothers, two words, Ahadun, Ahad. Me and you have, look how many Musahaf. We compete, which is bigger, which has more golden pages and liners and so on and so forth. Every hadith we have collected, every book of knowledge we have, and we use it to argue instead of to come closer to Allah. Khabbab ibn al-Arat, RadhiyAllahu anhu, was sitting amongst them and said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, do you know what had happened to me? He pulled off his collar from his back, and there on it were black holes. Ammar radiallahu anhu, who has seen more blood and more wounds than any of us, couldn't even look at it. So he said to him, what happened? How did it go back then? He said, I was a slave of Amr, a blacksmith. I was making spears and arrows and swords for them. And because of my Islam, she would take charcoals and put it on my back until they would go out. Even the Prophet ﷺ did not have more authority but to pass by and say, Fasbir ya Khabbab. Have patience ya Khabbab. Allahumma ansur Khabbaba. Allahumma ansur Khabbaba. It did not pass 3 days. This woman fell ill, to the point that the only cure that they advised her with is to take these same charcoals and tie them around her head, from which she died. Another stranger. Once, Prophet ﷺ was sitting with his companions, and a young man passed by. Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam shed tears and said, Wallahi, I have seen this young man in Mecca, with wealth that no other had, with garments and clothes that no other had, with perfumes that no other had. He was the one that everyone wanted to be with him and around him. The girls of Mecca were lining up for this man to pass by on them. That to be noticed, all of that he has left for those tattered clothes that he has on himself. This man, because of his akhlaq and his yaqeen, his iman, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam sent to Al-Madinah. In very few years, after coming to Medina, from being the only Muslim, he turned the place to be a city of 8,000. When the Prophet ﷺ emigrated, when he did his hijrah, around 8,000 Muslims waited, saying, طَلَعَ الْبَدْرُ عَلَيْنَا. On the da'wah of this young man, when he was killed, he resembled the Prophet very much, ﷺ. When he was killed, they went back home to find a piece of cloth to wrap him in, a kafan. And all they were able to find is a piece of cloth that was only long enough that when they would cover his feet, his face would become exposed. And when they would cover his face, his feet would become exposed. And he said, بَخِمْ بَقْ يَا Mus'ab ibn Umar. وَلِقَاءُ فِي جَنَّةٍ. Our meeting is in Jannah. These, my dear and beloved brothers, are the ones that have dared to swim against the flow. The vast majority of the world wasn't Muslims. Most of the people around them weren't Muslims. They could have well chosen the path to swim with the river. Would we be talking today about them? Would we be thinking today about them? Would there be any good in mentioning them? These were people who understood that if you want to change the world, you need to settle with the fact that you will be a stranger, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us one and all from the strangers.
Amen. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alayhi wa sahbihi wa man wala.
Now, to make it even more clear, the Prophet ﷺ is sitting, companions around him are sitting, and he says, إِنَّ الْإِسْلَامَ بَدَعَ الْغَرِيبِ. Islam will come as something strange amongst people. وَسَيَعُودُ الْغَرِيبِ. And it will ever come back, and it will always be as something strange. And then he gave them the glad tidings, the inspiration that is so hard, subhanAllah, to inspire us with. وَتُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاءِ. We get inspired by cars, by buildings, by businesses, by everything else. Tuba, the lush tree of Jannah. Every garment of this tree will be made every inhabitant of Jannah will be made out of the leaves of this tree. The shade of this tree will be as wide that a best horseman on a best horse will ride 100 years to get out of its shade. The fruits from the people of Jannah will be from this tree. The Saud that me and you dream about, to be able to sit beside our beloved and to drink from the Saud. Where is in the shade of this tree? Where is the inspiration that we find today? How come this does not inspire us and everything else does? وَتُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاءِ. This is what it comes to. A particle from the dust of that or beneath that tree is better than everything on this dunya that ever existed. Companions were eager to know. And they said, وَمَا الْغُرَبَاءِ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. And who are the strangers? He said, the people that go like and become like everyone else. الَّذِينَ يُصْلِحُونَ عِنْدَ فَسَادِ النَّاسِ. These are people who are rectifying the situation, the condition, who are correcting, who are bringing about the change on this dunya. When the fasad becomes widespread, don't you find yourself in this position? Shouldn't you enjoy this position? Wallahi, every wink of an eye we should. الَّذِينَ يُصْلِحُونَ عِنْدَ فَسَادِ النَّاسِ. When the fasad becomes widespread, your own example, of course. Then enjoy. You, inshallah, are from amongst the ghuraba. And Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to be persistent and constant in it. He says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. The ones that have accepted Islam, they were truthful in their words when they said Allah is our Lord, and are steadfast in these words. No money can sell them off, can make them sell off their deen. And there's the Sunnah. تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وابشرهم بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون. Malaika will descend on them, giving them comfort. This is why you find people. You can torture them. You can do whatever you want to do. They know their path. They have chosen to be ghuraba of this dunya. You can't scare them, intimidate them. They know that أَلَا تَخَافُوا, they should not fear. وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا, nor should they grieve. And they rejoice the Jannah that they were asking and were pledged. نَحْنُ أَوْلِيَاؤُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ. Allah speaks, we are the ones who will be their awliya, their protectors, and their helpers on the dunya and on the akhirah. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَشْتَهِي. And for them is مَا تَشْتَهُ أَنفُسِهِمْ. For them is what their souls will be craving for. They will get whatever their soul wished for in this dunya. وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَبْتَغُونَ. And for them will be whatever they have ever asked for. نُزُلًا مِنْ غَفُورٍ رَحِيمٍ. A pledge, an accommodation of Ghafoor, the most forgiving and the most merciful. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلُ صَالِحًا. So Allah finishes off this inspiration for me and you and whoever has iman in his heart. For this Ramadan and next Ramadan and every other Ramadan, that Allah gives me and you the opportunity to see and go through, inshallah, pure. So he says, so who is better, more trustworthy, most beautiful in his speech than the one who is calling towards Allah, وَعَمِلُ صَالِحًا, and who does his actions reflect Islam, وَقَالُ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and says for himself, we surely, or I surely, I am from the believers. Think, my dear and beloved brother and my honorable sisters, of these few words that I gave you today. It is my responsibility to convey you this message from the heart. And wallahi, if any part of your hearts have listened to it, inshallah, me and you will all benefit from it. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who will benefit from the reminder. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to fulfill our du'as. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive all of those who are not this year with us to witness the Ramadan. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give forgiveness and mercy, shower His mercy and forgiveness, and enter us in Jannah, inshallah, with these very same people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said are the successful ones, with the prophets, with His messengers, with His truthful, with His martyrs, with His scholars, with His righteous servants. يا عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله العظيم أذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم.
حي على الفلاح.